Hello, I am John Ambler, Senior Vice Presidente of the Program Division, and I am pleased to introduce the most recent revision of Oxfam America's Rights-Oriented Programming for Effectiveness document. In this revision, we have emphasized simplification, focus. Oh, thank you. And clarifying basics of what we consider good programming. I wish to thank many field staff, regional staff, who over the past 2 years have provided continuous feedback regarding needed improvement, and once again, I wish to thank you all in advance for your future comments on how we can improve our Oxfam America approach, strategies, and tactics even more. I encourage you to read Rope 2. Thank you very much.
A rights-based approach to programming seeks to create the conditions for people to live in dignity and fulfill their inherent human potential. Many development actors see poverty as a set of unmet needs that they can fulfill through the delivery of services, like handing out food aid or building latrines. This approach to development is generally referred to as needs-based. Within this approach, people are viewed as beneficiaries or targets, passive recipients of external solutions. The rights-based approach, which Oxfam America aspires to, digs deeper, identifying and seeking to address the root causes of poverty, viewing unmet needs as unmet or denied rights. People are seen as the agents of their own change. Within this rights-based view, poverty is a problem of power, one which people are deprived of opportunities, resources, public services, knowledge, and protection. Well-being and strengthened livelihoods are important to Oxfam. A rights-based approach pushes us to think about the sustainability of these gains. Thus, a rights-based approach requires us to address people's ownership of ideas, their access to information, their knowledge of rights, and their access to decision-making. People's power builds from their sense of dignity and rights. People's knowledge transforms the choices they have and the actions they take. Empowerment is the ability to imagine and create new opportunities. ROPE, Rights-Oriented Programming for Effectiveness, is Oxfam America's framework for designing and evaluating programs, which helps us operationalize our rights-based concepts, values, and principles. Fundamental to our concept of programming requires that a program goal must identify impact, which Oxfam purposely defines as significant, sustainable, positive change in power relations that enables excluded and marginalized people to assert and realize their rights for access to and control over the knowledge, resources, services, and decision-making necessary to live in dignity. In order to facilitate impact, ROPE lays out a core set of programming principles that reveals how Oxfam America puts this rights-based approach ideal into programming. We listen to and engage as equals with people living in poverty. We build on their existing ideas, aspirations, and capabilities. We adopt participatory approaches and seek ever greater levels of understanding with those approaches. We uncover their own vision of success and build strategies to achieve them. Women and girls are of particular importance. Our programs are built upon a sophisticated knowledge of local conditions. There are no universal magic bullets. We identify an appropriate set of actions suited to specific changing situations. We build on demonstrated good practice, adapted locally. Deep social change is complex, with many forces at work. We cannot do everything, everywhere. We must carefully choose the most powerful leverage points in a social system. Targeted small investments can result in very large change. The changes we seek will be beyond Oxfam's sole ability to achieve. We try to influence others to join in our efforts. We craft programs in smart ways that contribute to Oxfam's resources, to wider efforts, and do not act alone or in a redundant manner. Our own interventions must add value to what others already do. While poverty is seen and felt at the individual, household, and community levels, the root causes of it are often higher. Oxfam works at multiple levels over time, starting with the people in their local community organizations, working our way up together through the layers of influence, and using policy advocacy at national and global levels to effect change at the community level. We recognize that a commitment to work on the root causes of poverty is a long-term undertaking. Our programs make 10 to 15-year commitments to work with and for a specific group of primary change agents. Our programs have evaluative systems that enable us to continually learn. We learn as much from our setbacks as our successes. We examine evidence we gather to understand the dynamics of change and adjust our strategies. Most of all, we need to engage the people themselves in these learning processes and find new ways to empower them to take a greater role in both defining success and determining if Oxfam's work has made a difference in people's lives. We aspire to the best standards in accountability. We are accountable, first and foremost, to the people we serve. Next, we are accountable to our partners and allies, to our donors and supporters. We also must be true to our vision, values, and purpose. In order to implement these principles of rights-based programming, ROPE lays out the key elements and standards of program design. As mentioned earlier, Oxfam's rights-based approach to programming revolves around our definition of impact. Such impact is measured at the level of the people themselves, whom we identify as the primary change agents. Impact is evidenced by the concrete changes they experience in their lives, relationships, rights, and conditions. Impact is not impact unless it is felt by the primary change agents and recognized as such by them. The rationale for linking communities or members of a community into the program as its primary change agents must meet three conditions. They hold common interests. The same rights are at stake, the same underlying cause to their vulnerability, the same dynamic of exclusion and poverty. There are common leverage points. The same targets have the power to make change that affects all the people, not different targets for different people. They have common objectives. It is strategic for the people to undertake common activities and strategic objectives, often in joint action. The program design puts forward a significant end goal we call an impact goal. We want to be working towards a significant yet achievable change in people's lives, so the impact goal should be looking for changes 10 to 15 years down the road and define what is significantly different for this specific population of people. Program design must also include an in-depth context and power analysis made in close collaboration with the people themselves. This is essentially analysis of the actors and processes that work to perpetuate unequal power relations and identifying those working for positive change. The program design must also lay out its program theory of change, which represents our best guess about how the social system can evolve between now and 10 to 15 years from now. The theory of change helps us think about what kind of change we're working towards and what we think needs to take place for the change to occur. This is our map for our journey, but it is also a hypothesis, which means that it needs to be constantly tested, challenged, and improved through our monitoring, evaluation, research, and learning systems. Theories of change will evolve as we and our partners learn, and as we learn about whether or not power relations are truly changing. We revisit the theory of change, improve it, and then rethink the strategies and tactics we are employing moving forward. After fleshing out the theory of change, the program design produces a coherent set of mutually reinforcing intermediate interventions, which target power at the levels where change is most critical for producing outcomes at the national or international level. Strategic interventions can include policy advocacy, coalition building, alliance building, public monitoring, technical assistance, capacity building, research, and witnessing. Our partners and allies may include non-governmental organizations, representative organizations of the poor, research institutions, allies in government and business, and others. Because influencing power relations requires specialized interventions at multiple levels, the program incorporates additional change agents strategically. We choose our strategic partners and tailor our interventions to where we can bring about the greatest change for and with the primary change agents. All these elements of program design are documented in a program strategy paper, which we call a PSP. The PSP is the physical document in which Oxfam and its co-strategizing partners outline their analysis, thinking, strategies, and plans for implementation and monitoring, evaluation, and learning. These documents represent living strategies and are expected to be reviewed, refined, and changed based on dynamic systems of evaluation and learning over the course of the program life. These documents, in their most basic formats, likely minus power analyses and information of a sensitive nature, can also be used internally to support better communications, fundraising, and policy making related to our regional programs. Program Monitoring, Evaluation, and Learning, what we call MEL, aims to hold Oxfam accountable to all stakeholders, particularly the primary change agents, and to provoke continuous learning and improvement through tracking progress towards the program goal. Creating a MEL system within a rights-based approach to programming implies that we make changes in power relationships explicit and evaluable, involve people in defining what success and impact is to them and how to achieve it and measure it, build the capacity of primary change agents and partners to think critically about the changes going on around them, and create public transparency with regards to evaluation findings. OA's program MEL systems start with the program strategy and the articulation of a program theory of change. The program's theory of change is central to our MEL system because it makes explicit our hypothesis of how change will happen over the next 10 to 15 years. This hypothesis needs to be tested and becomes a focal point for our measurement systems. We then identify a system of strategic impact indicators, 10 to 12 at most, which enable us to track our progress against the theory of change. Each program has strategic MEL processes, which seek to capture evidence of changes in outcomes and impact over time. We establish partnerships with regionally based research institutes to conduct a program impact baseline and carry out iterative impact studies that look at changes at the level of people's power and social position over time. Each program also operationalizes the MEL system in the form of program outcome monitoring with program partners and primary change agents, for example, through grant reporting, partner consultations, and community outcome mapping. Yearly data collection, both internal and external, feeds into an annual impact reflection, or AIR. An AIR is a participatory process where we make sense of data collected across our multidimensional MEL system and determine what changes are happening, positive or negative, intended or unintended. It is a moment of critical reflection where we consider the quality of our MEL system data, review our progress against the theory of change, and determine possible course corrections for the future. This moment also allows us to set the next year's external research agenda. Every 3 years, we contract independent researchers to conduct a 3-year impact evaluation of the program. Through these carefully designed and executed program MEL processes, we feel that we should have enough information to seriously answer the questions: are we making progress? Are we learning and improving? And most importantly, are we achieving impact, especially in a way that is sustainable and meaningful to the primary change agents?
What a very impressive office. Who is this? Oh, excuse me, sir. I'm trying to find my way to lead.
Oh, you must follow first. You cannot lead without following. You must be a follower leader.
That is a very handsome man right there, very tall.
Who's behind me? Who are you looking at?
Thank you very much. I'm back now. Oh, a little bit thirsty. Thank you. I'm a most handsome fellow.